Hey everyone, Jess here from the Equipment Guide, and this is our review of the Advanced Elements AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite. With all our reviews, we look at 5 core criteria: construction, performance, portability, setup and pack down, and comfort. We also look at value for money and best use cases. For full testing methodology and comparison tables, visit our website at theequipmentguide.com. Performance is one of the biggest factors in our ratings because it has the greatest impact on how enjoyable a kayak is to paddle. Just a quick note before we begin. The footage you're about to see was filmed primarily on flat water, but we've also tested this kayak in rougher and windier conditions, so our observations reflect a wide range of environments. In this category, we evaluate speed, tracking, maneuverability, stability, and load handling. The AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite performed particularly well in a number of these areas. Speed. The AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite is one of the faster inflatable kayaks we've tested, especially for a convertible tandem style. Its long, relatively narrow hull shape helps it move efficiently through the water, making it well suited to longer paddling sessions and coastal touring. Tracking. Tracking was a real highlight with this kayak. The built-in aluminum ribs in the bow and stern, combined with the directional fin, help the kayak stay on course very effectively, even in rougher waters. We found it tracked confidently with minimal correction needed. Maneuverability. Because of its longer, touring-oriented design, the AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite isn't as nimble as some shorter recreational kayaks, so it does take longer to turn, which is a consideration if you're using it as a single paddler. But it still responds predictably to paddle input and feels controlled on the water. Stability. The kayak felt stable and confidence-inspiring during testing, its side tubes doing a lot of the work to keep it stable. The rigid drop-stitch floor helps create a firmer paddling platform and contributes to the overall feeling of control on the water. Load handling. There's plenty of storage space for day trips or long outings, so there's no problem in terms of fitting in gear. However, the drop-stitch floor is a slide-in piece, so it's not meaningfully attached to the side tubes, and it inflates to a relatively low pressure for drop stitch. Those two things mean that when loaded, the floor developed a bit of a sag along its length and noticeably slowed in water. Overall, the AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite impressed us with its paddling efficiency, straight-line tracking, and ability to handle a variety of conditions. We'd especially recommend it for paddlers wanting a touring-oriented inflatable kayak with strong performance and high carrying capacity. We scored its performance a 9 out of 10. When evaluating construction, we look at materials, seams, valve quality, durability, and fittings. The Elite version of the AdvancedFrame Convertible features a drop-stitch floor that noticeably improves rigidity, tracking, and glide compared to standard inflatable floors. The aluminum ribs in the bow and stern also help strengthen the hull shape and improve overall performance. There are additional small air chambers at the front and rear of the cockpit that help maintain the kayak structure, although it's important to follow the setup instructions carefully to get the best performance out of the design. Overall, the construction feels thoughtful and performance-focused, with some disadvantages for setup and pack down that we'll talk about in a moment, and we scored it an 8 out of 10. For setup and pack down, we assess inflation time, valve layout, drying, and how easy the kayak is to fold away. While the setup process itself is well explained, this kayak does take noticeably longer to assemble than many simpler inflatables because of the number of valves, accessories, and structural components involved. In our testing, setup took around 15 minutes. The hull fabric also takes longer to dry compared to PVC-skinned kayaks, which is important because kayaks must be dry before storage to avoid mold growth, and packing everything neatly back into the bag can be a little tricky. Overall, setup and pack down was one of the weaker areas for this kayak, and we gave it a 5 out of 10. For portability, we consider weight, pack size, and ease of carrying. The AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite is fairly heavy, especially if you include the additional accessories like the spray deck. While it does technically function as a backpack, we found the carrying comfort wasn't ideal for longer distances, particularly because of the hard metal fittings pressing into your shoulders. Because of its weight and bulk, this isn't the type of kayak we'd want to carry far on foot, although the packed size itself remains manageable enough for transport and storage. We scored portability a 7 out of 10. Comfort is assessed based on seat support, legroom, and how comfortable the kayak feels over longer paddling sessions. The adjustable seats provide really solid lumbar support and keep you sitting in a more upright paddling position, which we found noticeably more comfortable than inflatable seat designs.
Something to keep in mind, though, is footrests don't come included. Paddling without something to brace your feet against put a lot more load on your hip flexors and stomach muscles, so we'd recommend buying one of the footrest options to avoid paddling fatigue.
It's also long enough for two paddlers to have a good amount of legroom. While our larger testers found the cockpit slightly narrower than other designs, overall the kayak felt comfortable for extended time on the water, and we gave it an 8 out of 10 for comfort. The AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite sits towards the mid to premium end of the inflatable kayak market, but it does include a range of performance-oriented features that justify the price for the right paddler. Its combination of speed, carrying capacity, stability, and touring capability make it a strong option for people prioritizing paddling performance over convenience and portability. Who is the AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite best suited for? We think it's particularly well suited to longer day trips and outings where storage capacity and paddling efficiency are important. It's also a strong option for paddlers wanting a touring-style inflatable kayak that performs confidently on flat water and coastal conditions. After combining all of our category scores, the AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite received an overall rating of 87 out of 100. Its standout strengths are its speed, tracking, stability, and storage space. Its biggest downsides are the heavier weight, slower setup and pack-down process, and overall bulk compared to simpler inflatable kayaks. Overall, though, this is a very capable, expedition-style inflatable kayak with excellent performance and thoughtful design features for serious paddlers.
That concludes our Advanced Elements AdvancedFrame Convertible Elite review. For full testing methodology, comparison tables, and detailed written reviews, go to our website at the Equipment Guide. If this video helped you, let us know in the comments, subscribe, and we'll see you on the water.